Someone offered you a £35,000 salary. You negotiated for it. You celebrated it. You probably told your friends about it. And this might sound familiar. You did the maths in your head and thought, yeah, that's decent money. But the number that actually lands in your bank account every month? It's nowhere near £35,000. And once you see where the money really goes, you will never look at your payslip the same way again. Because your salary is not your salary. Your take-home pay is your salary. And for millions of people in the UK, the gap between those two numbers is far bigger than they realise. Let's take a normal £35,000 salary. Nothing extreme, just a completely average full-time income. The first thing that happens is your personal allowance. The first £12,570 you earn is tax-free. Sounds generous. Until you realise everything after that starts getting chipped away piece by piece. You then pay 20% income tax on earnings between £12,571 and £50,270. So now part of your salary disappears immediately. Then national insurance kicks in. Another 8% on earnings between £12,570 and £50,270. Another chunk gone. Different name, same feeling. Money leaving your payslip. And this is where it starts becoming real. Because £35,000 sounds like a completely different life to £28,000, but after tax and national insurance, that is roughly what you actually keep. Around £28,000 to £29,000 per year. Around 82% of your gross salary. The rest never even touches your bank account. Then you move up slightly. £40,000 salary. Sounds solid. Until you break it down properly. Income tax? £5,486. National insurance? £2,194. Total deductions? £7,680. That leaves you with £32,320 per year, or about £2,693 per month. Suddenly, the salary sounds a lot smaller. Then £50,000. Your monthly take-home is roughly £3,217. At £70,000, around £4,196 a month. And this is where the system starts becoming obvious. The more you earn, the bigger slice disappears first. Not accidentally, by design. Every extra pound gets treated more aggressively than the last one. And eventually, you stop measuring income by what you earn. You measure it by what survives. If nobody has ever explained this stuff to you properly before, subscribe to Pound Smart Pete. Because understanding money is not optional anymore. And honestly, everything we've talked about so far is just the surface level. Because there's another layer most people have absolutely no idea exists. And once you see it, your entire understanding of work and salary changes. Because your employer is not just paying your salary, they're paying something else too. Something most employees never think about. Employer National Insurance. From April 2025, Employer National Insurance increased to 15%. That means your employer pays tax just for employing you. So let's go back to that £35,000 salary. Your employer does not actually spend £35,000 on you. They spend much more, around £4,500 more. That means employing someone on a £35,000 salary now costs an employer roughly £39,500. But you only take home around £28,500. Think about that carefully. Your employer spends almost £40,000. You receive less than £29,000. The gap between what you cost and what you keep is over £11,000. And most people have never even heard this explained before. You probably thought, my salary is £35,000. But from your employer's perspective, you cost nearly £40,000. And from your bank account's perspective, you earn closer to £28,000. 3 completely different numbers for the exact same job. That changes how you see your salary instantly. And here's the really clever part. The government found a way to increase the tax burden on millions of people without changing the headline tax rates at all. And most people never noticed it happening. The personal allowance has been frozen at £12,570 until at least April 2028. That sounds boring, but it is incredibly important. Because wages are rising, but the tax-free threshold is not. Which means every pay rise pushes more of your income into taxable territory. You earn more, but more of your money becomes taxable. That is called fiscal drag, and it is basically a stealth tax increase. No dramatic announcement, no giant headlines, no obvious tax rise, just millions of workers slowly paying more tax every year, without fully realizing why. Imagine inflation pushes your salary upward. You think you are moving forward financially, but more of your pay quietly slides into taxable bands, so your pay rise feels smaller than expected, again and again. This is one of the reasons so many people feel financially stuck right now. Their gross salary rises, but their real disposable income barely moves. And if you think that sounds bad, wait until you hear what happens after £100,000. Because this next part is probably the most outrageous thing in the entire UK tax system. There is a hidden tax trap between £100,000 and £125,140. Most people have never heard of it, even people inside the trap. It is often called the 60% tax trap. Now, officially, there is no 60% tax band in the UK. But effectively, there is. Here's why. Once your income goes above £100,000, your personal allowance starts disappearing. At the same time, the 40% tax rate applies. So you are paying higher rate tax while also losing your tax-free allowance. The result? An effective marginal tax rate of 60%. The government effectively takes 60 pence of every extra pound earned in that range. Imagine working harder, taking on more responsibility, earning more money, only to lose most of the extra income before it reaches you. And the craziest part? Huge numbers of people earning around £100,000 have absolutely no idea this trap even exists. Nobody teaches this stuff properly. You're expected to somehow discover it yourself. But once you understand how the system works, you can start using the rules properly, instead of blindly walking into them. Because there are completely legal ways to reduce how much tax you pay, and most people are ignoring them. Pension salary sacrifice is one of the biggest. Instead of taking part of your salary as taxable pay, you redirect it straight into your pension before tax gets applied. That lowers both your income tax and your national insurance at the same time. On a £35,000 salary, sacrificing even a few £1,000s into your pension can save you hundreds in tax and national insurance every year. You are effectively paying your future self before the tax system takes its cut. Then there's marriage allowance, a completely legal tax break many couples never claim, worth up to £252 per year. Not life-changing, but still your money. Then the cycle to work scheme. You can save between 32% and 42% on a bicycle through tax savings. Again, most people never even look into it. And then there's your tax code. This one is massive. Millions of UK workers are on the wrong tax code, which means they are overpaying tax without realizing it. Think about how insane that is. You could literally be handing over too much money every single month simply because nobody checked the code properly. That is why understanding this matters. Not because tax is evil, not because earning more is pointless, but because if you do not understand how your payslip works, you're playing a financial game without knowing the rules. And the people who understand the rules always have an advantage. The moment you stop looking at gross salary and start focusing on real take-home income, your entire perspective changes. Suddenly, salary negotiations look different. Pension contributions look different. Pay rises look different. Even overtime looks different. Because now you understand the gap between what you earn what you cost, and what you actually keep. And once you see that gap properly, you cannot unsee it. Your salary is not the number in your contract. It is the number that survives after everyone else takes their slice first. If you want more videos that break down how money really works in the UK, subscribe to Pound Smart Pete. Because the next time you get a pay rise, you're going to look at it very differently.